All right, hey, time to start the entree. I kind of waffled back and forth about what I wanted to do for this evening. I was going back and forth between rack of lamb, and then I settled on steak Diane, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But let's kind of attack the ingredients and start this dish on the stove. So steak Diane, a very classic dish, probably from the 50s and 60s. It was found on every steakhouse menu you could possibly think of. So first off, the steak. So we've got two roughly 4.5 ounce pieces of filet mignon or petit filet. We have some mushrooms, again, either a single variety or any variety or a combination of varieties. And we have some diced shallot right here. Some beef or veal stock, whatever you can find. Cream, cognac or brandy, Worcestershire, Shire sauce, a little Dijon mustard, and of course some fabulous olive oil, which we're going to get in the pan right now. This whole thing will be in the saute pan. We're not going to be doing anything in the oven. We're going to go right from the saute pan right to our plates. I want to make sure that oil gets relatively hot. We've got some nice salt on there. Don't be bashful with the seasoning. So we want to get a nice sear on that steak. What we're looking for is that oil to kind of shimmy a little bit, shine, shimmer, be a little bit thinner. We want to catch it basically right before smoke starts to appear. It's called the smoke point. I can actually smell the olive oil. It smells really good. And we talked about this in the past, but when we lay some proteins down in the saute pan, especially a hot saute pan with oil, we want to drop the proteins, away from us. So let's start with that. Nice start. Okay, we'll wash our hands. So you're going to run about a medium heat right here, and also season the other side. I don't know if you can see the size of the flake of that salt. It's a kind of coarse ground kosher salt, which I like, but also it's a lot easier to control. I like the flavor, but you can certainly use regular iodized salt. So this is so we can actually almost watch the cooking process. You don't want to move these. You want to leave them be because you want to get a nice sear on there. So as soon as you start jostling the food around, we're going to create steam, and then we're not going to get that browning that we're accustomed to. You can maybe see a little bit the cooking kind of coming up the center of that steak. Not unlike cooking a piece of tuna. You can kind of watch the cooking process kind of going up. Looking good. So we're going to leave this for about maybe a total of 1.5 minutes or so on this side. And then we'll flip it over and give it about another 1.5 minutes on this side. And we'll kind of walk you through the regular process. We also have the accompanying vegetable for this will be sauteed spinach. Now again, spinach in its raw form looks like an awful lot of spinach, but that's going to cook down to next to nothing, and that might be just enough for one portion. We're only going to plate up one of the dishes tonight anyway. Let's go ahead and turn these over. Wow, great color. So we'll turn this down just a tad. We don't want to burn anything. So steak Diane, right? Again, it was between rack of lamb, which is going to be kind of like a one-pot meal, and I said, what's another like one pot, one saute pan we can do? And then I came up with steak Diane. Now, in the Grove, there's a couple of references to Diane or Diana. The one is that there's at least one bus that's named Diana, or Diane. And of course there is the great congregating or meeting place down by the field circle and the main dining room. Diana right there, the statue of Diana, welcoming any and all who come through their gates not too far from the lake. So that's how we decided on Steak Diana. Trying to get a little Grove reference in there when we could. So we come on back over to the steaks. Okay, we're looking pretty good right here. It's been, what do you think? Has it been about a minute and a half? All right. First time ever the cat's gotten where he's tongue. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these out. We're going to set them on a plate or a pan, like this right here. And then we're going to, at once, we're going to put the mushrooms and the shallots in together. Can you see this browning right here? That's called the fond, F-O-N-D. That's a lot of flavor in that pan that we don't want to miss out on. So the moisture in the mushrooms and the shallots is going to help lift up some of that fond as we add it to our sauce. Put it down just a tad. We're still on about a good medium heat. We're going to take a little bit of salt and pepper on the mushrooms and shallots as well. Not too much. The salt will help draw out some of the moisture of those mushrooms. You can see that's lifting up a little bit. Mushrooms are taking on a little bit of color. I like having a couple different varieties of mushrooms in there. These are regular domestic mushrooms, and then we have some shimeji mushrooms, which are these guys right here. Again, just kind of like a different texture, a little different appearance. So let's do this. Now we're going to add the cognac in this case, or brandy. We want to do that definitely off the heat, whether you've got an electric burner or a gas burner, definitely off the heat. We're going to put in maybe a couple of tablespoons, let that dissipate a little bit. Then we'll go back over to the fire, which will definitely flame up. That's okay. Big ta-da moment. Clean up as you go. Well, that doesn't smell too good. So let's go ahead and put the steaks back in there. Nestle them down back in there a little bit. Now we'll add the rest of our liquid ingredients. The stock. Some of the Worcestershire. A little bit of mustard in there, maybe a tablespoon or so. We'll keep cooking these. Maybe turn these over a little bit, get some more color, some more flavor on that side. I'll turn that down just a tad. Want to make sure we get the steaks cooked all the way through. And so, as the steaks sat in that, in this case, this little pipes right here, definitely some juices accumulated in the bottom. We want to save those and get those back into the pan. Now, depending on how thick the steaks are, they may take another, I don't know, maybe a couple more minutes in the saute pan right here. If you're concerned about it, you could, if they're a little on the thick side, maybe the same ounce, the same weight, you can take the steaks, put them in this little pie tin right there, pop them into an oven for maybe a couple of minutes to kind of keep the cooking process going, and then come back into the pan and finish them there. But these look like they're going to be probably okay. We got quite a bit of liquid in here, quite a bit of sauce, everybody's favorite. Smells good. I can really smell the mustard. Now we're going to take the cream, put that in. This is a dish that was almost always done tableside, again, back in the 50s and 60s at the higher end restaurants. Usually by the maitre d' or a very, very adept waiter. How are we doing on time? Pretty good? I think what we'll do right now is we'll taste the sauce. Wow. All right, that is absolutely delicious right there. Turn that down just to a very, very light simmer. Now, while that's going, we want to attack the spinach. So we'll get our other saute pan here. This one happens to be Teflon. Not necessarily needs to be Teflon, but it's my trusty, handy dandy Rachel Ray saute pan that I've had for a few years. It seems to work out pretty well. We already have some extra virgin olive oil in there. We want to get that hot. This is going to be a very, very fast process for the spinach. I'm not going to add anything extra to the spinach like garlic or shallots because there's a ton of flavor already here in with the steak. Wow, that's going to be good. Now I'm pushing on these steaks a little bit right here. I'm trying to get an idea about how far along they might be. And I'm going to turn these off and let them kind of finish in that hot pan. Now, to kind of test it for the degree of doneness, if you make a really, really light fist, there's going to be a real fleshy part right there. That's going to indicate kind of a rare piece of protein, so whether it's chicken, fish, in this case steak. But if you make a slightly tighter fist, they'll be a little bit firmer and less fleshy, and that will indicate more of a medium or medium rare. If you make a really, really tight fist and push your finger right there, that's going to be more like a medium well to well done. So what we're looking for is, a little resistance. That looks like it's probably a nice little medium rare right there. So we'll let those sit. Let's get the spinach going. That's pretty hot already. You're gonna hear a sizzle for sure. All that water that's in the spinach. A little bit of salt and pepper, don't need much. Okay, turn back. That's good. We'll turn off the heat right away, because that is just about ready to go. Done. Let's take that over to the plate. Don't let me stop you from putting a little bit of garlic or shallot in there. I'm just saying it's really not necessary because of the amount of flavor that's going to be coming from the steak and the sauce. Leave this one for me. Make sure you get plenty of those mushrooms. Wow, that is delicious looking and absolutely delicious tasting. That sauce came out really, really nicely. So we'll clean that up a little bit. So there's our steak Diane, the feature presentation for the hillbilly dinner. We've got one more course to go, and that's going to be the apple tart tartare, and we'll address that when we get back. Thanks.